the Students for Justice in Palestine. Does that sound somewhat benign? It's not. It is pro-violence and it is anti-Jew. And they've been fomenting strife all over the country on university campuses and beyond. They literally advocate violence. Take a look at this. Senator Josh Hawley was talking about them on the Senate floor, wants to condemn them. Their mission statement, yeah, they can engage in violence. Their moral obligation to be in solidarity with the dispossessed, no matter the pathway to liberation they choose to take. This includes violence, and they are on, I think, about 200 at least college campuses throughout this country. Dan Diker joins us from Jerusalem, Israel. He is the president of the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs. I've been hearing about this group for over the past couple of weeks. I heard you on Mark Levin, sir. Excellent job. Welcome. How are you and how are things over there right now?
Well, if I said we were fine, everything was perfect, I wouldn't be telling you the truth. We're on a war footing here. This is the deepest strategic existential crisis that the state of Israel has experienced, has faced since its founding in 1948. We are surrounded by the Iranian regime. The Iranian regime is the regime that undertook this massacre about 10 days ago with the help of their Hamas operatives, the global jihad. We have at least 1,400 people murdered, which is commensurate with 50,000 Americans. That means 11 9/11s in one day. My children are all in the Army, sons in the Special Forces. But you've got a very united Israeli body politic. The public is united. That means Jews, Christians, Muslims, Israelis of all shapes, ready to defend this country the size of the state of New Jersey against an enormous Iranian regime monster and the Night of the Living Dead called the Hamas.
Well, we are with you, and perhaps I know you need all the friends you can get right now, but Joe Biden came yesterday, and I'd like to get your assessment of the visit. How is it going down, actually, in Israel?
Well, there's a deep appreciation for President Biden's personal commitment to Israel, not only his position as commander-in-chief of the free world, but it's very well known in Israel that President Biden has been a profound friend of the state of Israel since his days as a young politician in the state of Delaware. And everyone is very much grateful that this is the first time President of the United States has ever visited the state of Israel in wartime. And I think that his commitment and his presence here sends a signal to the many enemies of the state of Israel and the Western Alliance. Number one, the mullahs in Iran, in Tehran. The fact that there are the USS Ford, USS Eisenhower, there are many U.S. warships in the area. And I think the United States, as we're understanding it, is dead serious about deterring any other malign actors that may decide to start up and expand this already deadly massacre, mass murder that its proxies had undertaken against innocent children, men and women here in Israel.
It's important that you have American support. I will tell you, though, we're very concerned about Joe Biden and how he seems to be coddling the far left, which is virulently anti-Semitic, as you know. And this $100 million to Hamas, potentially Hamas, we're not sure where that money is going to go. We're deeply concerned about that. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about, though, this the Students for Justice in Palestine. Again, I think most of the people, if they hear it, they won't realize, oh, that just sounds like a club. It's not like any club that should be allowed on any campus in America.
Well, it's not a club at all, Greg. It's a crusade, and it's a front group for the global jihadi Hamas movement. People think mistakenly that Students for Justice in Palestine, it sounds so positive and benign, as you said in the opening, but it's actually, the language is as deceptive as the Soviet playbook under Stalin, or the Nazi disinformation, or Iranian regime disinformation. That's exactly what it is. This is a malign group of actors in over 250, could be close to 300 campuses across the United States, including NYU, very close to where your studios are. These are cheerleaders for Hamas mass murderers. There's no other way to say it. These people are not interested in helping Palestinians. These people are dedicated to massacring Jews. That's why I wrote the report back in 2018, because it was one of the greatest deceptions in modern political history. And the fact is that university presidents, throughout the Ivy League and other great institutions of higher learning, that they countenance these people is absolutely intolerable for the cause of higher education in the United States. These people incite violence. They're anti-Semites. They hate Christians, and they should not be. They should not be covered. Their malign activity, which encourages violence, both rhetorical and physical violence against Jews and other friends of Israel, should not be allowed on campuses anywhere.
Well, it's amazing. It's almost like a domestic terror organization, and all we hear about here is January 6th and white supremacists, which is a phantom, and this is very, very real, and the authorities are either oblivious or they're okay with it. Can you do me a favor? Just tell us a little bit about the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, and people can go to jcpa.org, jcpa.org. Tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs is a leading diplomacy, communications, and research-driven policy institute. We see ourselves as the anchor of security, stability, and even prosperity for an Arab Muslim majority Middle East, but that accepts Israel as an indigenous member of this region. And I think there's a great appreciation among powers in the Abraham Accord family. JCPA right now is running the most aggressive counter-disinformation campaign that one can imagine. And we would be deeply appreciative of people's support. We're a completely independent organization that is supported only by independent support, mostly from North America. And what we've been doing is writing reports exposing these terrible groups like Students for Justice in Palestine, the Palestinian Academic and Cultural Boycott of Israel. You can get all this information for free at jcpa.org. And at the same time, we are an anchor of security and stability for this rapidly changing Middle East, in which Russia, the Iranian regime, China have all crouched and take positions. It's a very dangerous moment, Gregg, for the United States. Vital interest in the Middle East, and Israel is there as a small, fighting a state the size of the state of New Jersey, fighting for freedom, liberty, and all the Judeo-Christian values the United States was founded upon. That's what Israel is all about, and we're trying to keep the Middle East safe for people everywhere.
Dan Diker, thinking about you, pulling for you. Hang in there. I know it's totally inadequate. jcpa.org, jcpa.org. Thank you, Dan.